Welcome back to Midlife Spiritual Uprising. We have another episode for you today, and I'm excited. Well, I'm always excited, but I'm really excited because I love this woman. She and I have had some experiences and walked similar paths, and her name is Anna Kowalska. And I'm going to read a bit of her bio, and then we're going to go into the juicy part of her talk. She is a transformational coach, mentor, and trainer. Anna specializes in empowering women who feel trapped in their daily lives to discover and harness their spiritual gifts, stepping into their power as leaders. Her mission is to guide women towards a life that is not only prosperous, but deeply intertwined with their soul's work and purpose, even if they are still on the path to discovering what that purpose may be. And I know, Anna, you want to talk about purpose, but we'll come back to that. So welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Beth. And I love this topic. I just love this topic, and I love that we are opening up and that we are speaking about it.
I had one speaker, she was funny. She wrote back and she said, I would do your topic, but I'm not talking about midlife. And she's our age. And I thought, I said, okay, that's fine. Interesting, but I think it's juicy and we need to talk about it. So tell me, we talked a little bit about before the camera started rolling. What is your view of midlife? One, and then two, what is your view when it comes to, in your experience of having more or less energy as we're going through all these shifts? So can you get into that?
Yeah, for sure. So I can't speak to the woman or about the woman or why she, she didn't want to speak to that. But I'll tell you my experience. In society, as it is still, we have this stigma that midlife means midlife crisis. Midlife means you are getting older. Midlife means you are lower energy. You are getting outdated. You are, fragile. I don't know. We have all these ideas, right? And here I am. I just turned 49 2 weeks ago. Exactly. Actually, I turned 49 2 weeks ago. And I don't understand how it works because I was expecting, I think in my 30s, I'm like, oh, I will feel a certain way when I'm 49. I mean, I'm going to be 50 next year. Like, what does it even mean? Because 50 years ago, a 50-year-old would probably look and feel 3 times my age. And I think there are a lot of people who are 3 times my age. My goodness, they'd be dead. Twice my age. There are a lot of people that I meet and I ask them how old they are, and they definitely don't move through the world the way I do. They don't look or feel or present themselves as youthful. So there is definitely a conversation that we have in our society around what midlife means, and it's usually midlife crisis. You are awakening or realizing to the fact that if you live 100 years old, and we don't know, I think with everything going on in all the discoveries, in all the evolutionary progress that we are experiencing that's speeding up, there is a pretty good chance that we have an opportunity to live way past 100. People used to live this long, and then things changed, right? I mean, we have evidence that people used to live for hundreds of years. So I think we are going back to like, okay, we can live a lot longer. So if I'm living a lot longer, this time of my life right now, what does it look like? I could be halfway through my incarnation, right? I could be halfway through this physical being that I am and all the experience that I have expiring. I could be, right? So I could start asking myself questions that are more real, like in my 20s and 30s and even 40s, I didn't, like early 40s, I didn't ask myself how to take care of my health better. I didn't ask myself, how do I really make an impact in the world so I can leave a legacy? So my life is not just for me and my immediate people, but I leave a mark, like I progress something on planet Earth so humanity can benefit, even if they don't know it was me. So I'm starting to ask myself those questions. Another layer of it, because I am a woman, I'm also dealing with hormonal changes. And I remember when I first started to study hormones, I am in no way an expert, but I do have a hormonal imbalance. So hormones were part of my studies. As I was developing spiritually and developing in many other ways, I looked at hormones because they are a biological fact about how we show up. So there is a conversation that happens that's factual, that we are moving out of the life producing years for women. Now, men, I cannot speak to, but even men, you know, I mean, there are men who father children into their 60s, 70s, and 80s, and they can. So let's just speak to women for a moment. Our bodies, our energy is no longer focusing on producing children. And whether you want children or not, have children or not, biologically, our being is focused on every single month on, is there a baby or not? Is there a baby or not? And that's certain things. And I didn't actually pay attention to it for a long time until I did. So now that I'm coming to the stage of my life where that's no longer going to be my focus, my biology can now focus on how do I harness my energy for creation of something other than biological life. So midlife uprising, like when I heard that, and without even spiritual for a moment, without even putting spiritual in it, the midlife uprising, I'm like, well, first of all, our society really glorifies youth and looks to youth to make the difference. And there is value in that. It's a fresh perspective, and they are the ones who will be living way past my death. But I have all this wisdom, I have experience, and you do too, right? And everybody who's here, who was drawn into midlife uprising, is saying the same thing. What do I do with this wisdom? I know the mistakes I made, and I know what I can teach somebody. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop them from making their own mistakes and learning their own lessons, but they could build on what I have. I build on what my parents and my grandparents learned. Why wouldn't I continue to be a thriving contributor to society and share the wisdom? So we had a period of time in humanity where midlife crisis meant all of a sudden you get a new car, or you get a new husband or wife, you get a boob job, blip job, or whatever the heck we did, right? I'm gonna age now, my gray hair is coming in, whatever, all those conversations. And I think we have an opportunity, and a lot of us are doing it. We are staying healthier. I'm paying attention to what I eat a lot more, and not because I'm aging, but because I want to live longer. Like, I'm not in a conversation of how do I slow down the aging. I want to age better, right? So I exercise, I move my body every single day. It looks different every day, depending on what's going on, but I move my body every day. And I'm starting to look at how do I shift things in my life so I can continue to expand my energy. And now the spiritual part comes into it. Spiritually, I have access. So first of all, because my energy is no longer going to the biological creation,
The baby.
right? And again, I don't have any physical babies, but I know that every single month, a lot of my energy was going into, is there a baby or is there no baby? I know it. I'm present to it, even though I knew there was no baby.
The body is
So,
it's the body. Yeah, I never thought about that. Like every month, every cycle, baby,
yep.
no baby. Are we having a baby? Are you producing eggs? Are you doing a lot?
Yes. Yes. So even from a spiritual perspective, right? All my energy, my physical energy was going there. My mental energy was going there because I'm programmed that this is what's going on. So now my spirituality was impacted. My access to wisdom was different. And I'm not going to get in, I don't have evidence to say I'm right about this and I don't need to be. I'm sharing my own experience, right? So I began to pursue my purpose, or even become aware that there is a purpose and want to live a purpose in my late 30s. And in my 40s, I was in a process of discovering of who do I get to be the channel for it, to be the one who brings it into life. And now I am in a stage of like, first of all, beginning a whole new career. You and I were talking about this, right? I was in training for several years I'm beginning a whole new career that it's just going to require a lot of energy from me, continue to require to show up a certain way. And all of a sudden my purpose becomes stronger and more directed. So spiritually, I am connecting at a very different level. Spiritually, I am present to this physical being has had years of experience on planet Earth. And my mind is open. I was righteous in my 20s. I was lost in my 30s because I was very like, in my 20s, I thought I knew, right? I just thought I knew. In my 30s, I figured out that I didn't know, so I don't know, and I was lost. And in my 40s, I began to say, you know, this is part of the journey. And I'm not saying I know, but actually probably if we have this conversation in 59, I'll say, oh my gosh, in my 40s, I was. But I am looking at it right now and I'm like, wow, I am a lot more open and softer than I've ever been. Softer meaning I am available for different aspects, different perspectives, different inputs, collaboration than I've ever been before. And where we are as humanity in the space of evolution, because I know your community is spiritually focused. We are in the era of evolution. We are very quickly moving from one experience for humanity to another, like an epoch. Some call it an epoch. Some are saying it's much bigger than an epoch. Some are saying we've never been here before. And we are discovering that there were times on planet Earth where we were much farther along evolutionary than we are right now in many ways. So how do we access this wisdom? And at 20, and I'm not saying for all people, but at 20, I was focused on how do I make the money to buy the house, to build a life. I'm no longer there. It doesn't mean I'm not focused on what does my life look like? How do I want it to be? How do I want to show up in it? But now I'm feeling like I am a lot more serious about how do I live my life so it creates something that, first of all, supports everyone alive right now going through this evolutionary era. And how do I look forward and say 2-3 generations from now, what is the foundation that I am creating that they will be building on? They'll never know my name potentially, because I'm not looking for that. I don't need them to know my name, but I don't need to be the one who's written in history books, but I want to know that the ones who are coming 2-3 generations forward are definitely building on a beautiful foundation. And I think that's what Midlife Uprising is about.
Yeah, you said so many good things in there, but what I heard at the end there was, or toward the end, is intentionality. Like each decade you went through, but now as you're moving into the decade of their 50s, it's not about the things, it's not about being lost, it's not about this, it's about it being very intentional. And one place I see in women is there are two camps, like the camp you're in, where you're just like, I'm in, I'm focused, I'm intentional. And then there's another camp where they've done the mama thing, they've done the career thing, they bought the house and they don't know what to do with themselves, but they know they have something to give. They know they want to have a legacy and they know they have the wisdom, but they're lost. It's it's their way of being lost. So can you speak into those women that might be an empty nester of both the job or the career, the children, and what can they do to bring in that intentionality?
Yeah, so first recognize if you are at all in the paradigm of there is nothing left for you, or you are feeling like you are too old, or you are feeling like you did the thing you came here for, like either you were a mother, because that's what are we speaking mostly to women who have committed their energy to raise children and now
Both, yeah, like
both,
with children, it's like maybe their energy was on career, maybe their identity was career, maybe their identity was children, both, or maybe their identity was been their husband or their partner. Just any identity where they're coming from identity.
Yeah, absolutely. So two things are happening. One, the time we are in globally, we are actually moving based on human design timeline, which is based on I Ching. The next 3 years up until 2027, we are on the ramp up to separate from the old paradigm where we were community driven. Now, before I'm going to go deeper into it because community will be very important, but in a different way.
I want to write that down. I'm listening, but I literally need to write that down.
Okay.
Keep going.
So we're moving out of one era, and that was very much tribal kind of community where you belong to a tribe and your tribe protects you and you take on a certain identity in order to belong to the tribe. very connected to the birth family or connected to a certain identity within a culture. So it was a community, but it was tribal. And one could even say we sold our soul to belong to the tribe out of fear of being thrown out. And even if we found a way out, we were still very, very connected to, but I belong to this tribe. You know, I do hand analysis, and in hand analysis, there are indicators of, for those of us who are, even when we like, oh, but I don't even talk to my family. They were toxic and they weren't willing to work it out. So I separated. But in their hands, I see, yeah, you may have separated physically, you may not talk to them, but your identity is very much tied into who you are as part of them, even when you don't realize. So globally, as on this planet Earth, we are moving out of that kind of tribal community into I stand individual. So let me speak a little bit more. In the tribal community, we are saved by something outside of us. We have systems that provide for us. So if you are in trouble, there is a free service that provides some kind of a support. If something happens, you can, like we have the education system that'll take care of your kids, and we have the police system that'll take care of your safety. And I know we may be in a conversation of questioning how effective they are, but they've been there. Where we are going, it is very much recognizing that one, you don't have to belong to the tribe, and actually that the belonging to the tribe has been eroding your spiritual connection, has been eroding your identity that is authentically who you are when you allow yourself to connect to your higher self and live from that place. In addition, we have learned to, in some way, depend on the systems, whether it's the tribe or, like I said, a system or, something outside of us provides for us. And even people who are like, well, nobody's ever provided for me. It's always been me. Yes, but you drive on the roads that are supported by a system. You go to a medical
hospitals,
system.
the fire
Exactly.
police
Yes.
officers, right?
Yes.
All...
We've built systems that we pay taxes into, and we are part of the tribe, that kind of connection to the tribe. So there are many different layers. We are unwinding from all of it. By 2027, we will be in a very, very different energy. Now, it's not like we're going to wake up on January 1st, 2027, and all of a sudden those systems disappear. However, our ability to stand as a sovereign individual and truly know that I am counting on myself, I am choosing an identity that's authentically me, and I am going to begin to create or look for the community that is my soul connection versus my survival physical needs connection, my soul connection. I am an very much contributing factor in this community, and what I deliver is valuable, and that's how I stand as part of it, but also sovereign. And I don't need anything outside of me to save me or to provide for me, because I create a community within which everything we will be providing together. But there isn't like, I have to do something for you, so you do something for me, which is the old paradigm. Or if I leave this community, I will be completely outcast and I will perish. It's not like that at all. Communities will be built on mutual beneficiary relationships for whatever it is we are together, and they could fall apart or come apart, or the person can leave and they will not be desolate because they are grounded and rooted in their identity. So that's happening globally. So a lot of people will be asking themselves this question: who am I without all of the old identity, the old tribal beliefs, the old tribal cultural connections, the old connection to systems, golden handcuffs, medical insurance? Like, a lot of people are making choices based on their medical insurance and who provides better, and like, which is so like
so limiting. It's hard.
It is. And I'm not saying that it's not a correct way to be. We do what we get to do and we need to do for our loved ones. So I'm not judging it. However, it's changing and it will all fall away. So step number one is recognize and heal and transmute and calibrate to who are you as a sovereign being. The one that's willing to say, you know what, no matter what, I know I can count on me. And when I am, yes, exactly, I have all the resources I need, they're within me. And when I live that way, everything I need shows up for me. And it shows up for me through a community that I am choosing authentically to be a part of. I'm no longer twisting and contorting who I am. I'm no longer being a certain way to get what I need. I authentically become part of this new soul-based community. And within it, we create this beautiful synergy. And based on a synergy, everyone contributes something and receives whatever they need. So as a as a part of like bridging from old to new, we are all going to be asking ourselves that question. What's my identity? Who am I? If I'm disgusted by the job that I've had until now, and I see that the medical insurance is crap anyway, because it is, sorry, it is. The whole system is falling apart because it's so faulty. It can no longer sustain itself. It cannot. So when I'm no longer needing that, when I can see that, you know what, I actually I go for my health to resources that I pay out of pocket anyway, which is true for me,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Like transformational or alternative and
Yes, exactly. And I'm healing emotionally, so I don't have all the physical illnesses as much as I would if I didn't heal emotionally, because it's all coming from the same place. All of a sudden I can start making new choices. So knowing that that's happening, in addition to that, if you are in a midlife uprising, you are dealing with some changes that are happening, like I said, physically. So one, not falling apart when things fall apart, but saying this is happening so I can see who I am without all of it. Maybe for the first time. And I have clients, I actually have a client who's coming to mind right now, who lost her partner, her husband of many, many years. And after a period of grieving, she has begun a whole new journey in her life. She's now a published author. She's a speaker. I mean, she is flourishing. And it wouldn't have happened if her partner was still alive. And from a spiritual perspective, we looked at how has it served her. There was a contract between them. And within that contract, something occurred for one, so the other one could flourish. I'm not saying she did it. I'm not saying it's her fault. I'm not saying it had to happen this way, but it happened in a way that it allowed her to flourish. So if something is ending and you are feeling it ending and you're trying to hold on to it for dear life, release it. And know that, and I know we say this, but it takes so much courage to actually release it and say, there is something else that's birthing through me. It's not even outside of me. I will not find it by reading or nobody's coming to tell me anything. It's going to come from within me. It's going to be birthed. It's going to be birthed as a result of where we are. So there's like this is like another pathway that I'm going to introduce right now. I believe that every single one of us is, especially if we awake and connected to the divine in any way, shape, or form, to any degree, we are right now receivers of solutions for the future. So all the systems are going away, new ones are being birthed. We don't know what life on planet Earth will look like. We can say there'll be robots, and maybe there will be, but we don't know. We truly do not know. Cycles are ending, so we can't even say another cycle is beginning. This is what's going to happen. We can't say that. The only cycle that anyone right now can even connect to is there was human life, and it evolved, and then it disappeared, and it came back again. And that I'm talking about millions of years. So if anything, that's the only evidence that people that I listen to who are so much smarter than me are connecting to evidence of that. But other than that, we can't say, hey, every 8 years real estate drops and then comes back up. All of that is going away. So I believe that we are right now the receivers of the downloads, of the information, of the pieces, of the solutions and technologies for the new earth. And a lot of what we've been building will be taken care of by machines. And that's okay, because it will free us up to download the blueprints for the solutions that are energy-based, that are going, and I don't mean electric energy, although that too. Yeah. I mean healing modalities, education modalities. We will be accessing tremendous levels of who we've been that we never knew for a very, very long time. Like we think we do, like even you and I can totally probably geek out on, wow, we're so powerful. But I don't think we truly understand. Like, I really don't think we can grasp how powerful we are. Mm-hmm. So we need ways to to bring it into life on a physical plane, because that's not going anywhere. So anybody who is awake and aware right now, who is transitioning in their midlife out of something into something, this is the ripe moment to say, wow, I'm an empty vessel. I have wisdom, I have experience, I have fortitude, I have perseverance because I lived this long through so much in my life. What am I going to use this for now when information drops? What am I going to now be aware of because of everything that I have acquired through my journey, everything I have healed, everything I have transmuted, I am available for something. So now I am this empty vessel, empty meaning that I am open. I am not on an agenda that I have to buy a house by 25 and have a child by 27. I'm empty of that. I'm actually even throwing out that we retire. I am throwing that idea out. We don't retire. Our life goes into a different stage. And we may choose different balance between how much I work versus how much I rest, or how much I travel versus how much I work. But my life is, I know for me, because I'm so purpose driven, my life is always going to be around what supports me in fulfilling my purpose to a whole new degree over and over again. So anybody who is in this question right now of, so what's next? How do I be thriving? I feel young, I feel youthful. If you're in a conversation that you're not, change your diet, exercise, sleep better, get vitamins, get support, get healers on your side, right? Do a lot of energy work, meditate, drink water. I have like glasses of water here. I drink hot water from my glasses.
Constant water.
Right? Exactly. So start learning. How can I support myself in this? Like, I'm doing so much learning about my physical, this physical vessel, because I know that I am ready to go for at least another 50 years. What is it going to look like when I'm 100 and still allowing wisdom to come through me and manifesting into reality and being the wise one, and being the one who says, oh, I have so much experience. I have so much access to translating what's coming down. See, a 20-year-old doesn't have life's experience to translate and say, oh, based on what I'm receiving, there are options in which it could look like in a physical form. 20-year-old doesn't have that because they've lived so little, and it opens them up to be creative. But we have the life's wisdom that allows us to take what we have and say, I've seen something like this in my life before. This is what it looked like. I'm not attached to it looking the same way, but I have something to start with to mold what's coming in, and then allow the creativity and the invention to bring something else into it. And I know how to skip steps because I ran into these places before. So it's this wisdom that we get to honor. We must. I actually, can you tell I'm getting so passionate? I am a stand that women in whatever we call midlife, and men too, we stand and we say, you cannot discard us because of a certain age. We are fighting for our space because we can guide you. As you are entering the stage of life, we can guide you. We can guide your children. So maybe you have more energy in your 20s. Go and do the things. Let us take your children and teach them. So there are so many opportunities coming. I'm actually really, really excited about this whole phase of midlife, the way we are on planet Earth right now. I think it's a ripe opportunity. People who are transitioning out of certain careers, the careers are not obsolete. They might be the way they've been done, but they are not obsolete. So they have opportunity to say, wow, but I've learned how to do something within this industry. How do I take this? And based on what I'm downloading in wisdom from, all that's coming down to planet Earth that we are learning, all that's available from different dimensions to support us in creating different way of living. How can I take what I have learned, apply it here? I mean, there's so much in there. So I teach my clients all the time. I'm like, you've done this career for a long time, or 2 or 3. Don't discard it. Don't say, oh, okay, forget it. I never want to do it again. Let's choose and pick. But who have you become because of it? What is the wisdom that you've acquired? What is the skill that you can now take it and bring it over here into this new space that you can stand in your confidence, a lot more confident than in your 20s, and say, this is what we are creating. Come along, everyone, because I know I can see it. So that's the opportunity for the midlife uprising. We are reshaping what midlife means. I love it. It's like from midlife crisis to midlife uprising. And it's based on our connection to our spiritual being, to the wisdom that's coming down for us, down, up, because it's coming from middle of the planet Earth too. You know, it's coming from many different ways for us to be able to download and channel in the 3D environment for the future of humanity, starting not even future 2-3 generations, yes, and for us right now. Isn't it beautiful?
It's very beautiful. It's very powerful. And you alluded to a lot. I know we're wrapping up here, but just that the world is beginning to change and shift. And the view of midlife, I mean, think about the Golden Girls, right? That whole show, they weren't old. They were like late 40s, early 50s. They made them look ancient. And that's what they would do, you know, and it's not like that. And ageism and all of that is all things that we can release.
And we get to change it. We can't wait for somebody to say, oh, we would like you here. No, we get to claim it. We get to say, you can't just discard me. Look at me. I mean, there are people that I follow, I don't want to say names, but there are people that I follow on Instagram and they're in their 50s and I'm like, oh my goodness, you look gorgeous. Your wisdom, their bodies are strong and sculpted and beautiful, and their wisdom shows in their being and how they move. Like, let's from this place create.
Exactly. And it's available. So if you're listening to this and you're going, but I have so much to do, I'm not at the weight I want to be at, I'm not eating right, you can start right now and shift it. It's because what Anna is saying is there is all this wisdom, there's all this energy, it's all available to shift. It's not too late. It's never too.
Nope.
Never too late. Thank you so much. Okay, tell us about the free gift that you have for these amazing people.
Sure, I'd love to. So it's a 3-part recording that I put together when I started to look at what are the 3 things that I shifted in when I was looking at what my life looked like and where I want to go, and I was beginning to embody my purpose. And I call it 3 pillars of sacred success. Sacred success is merging the tangible success with my spiritual connection, with my connection to divine, and fulfilling on my soul purpose. So what does it look like? It's sacred success, because I do get to have tangible success on planet Earth. I don't want, being broke is not going to help anybody. So, and it takes money to eat good food, and it takes money to have good healthcare, and it does, and we get to direct it that way. So it's 3 pillars of sacred success: power, purpose, and prosperity. So first, you get to stand in your power. That's what worked for me. Until I owned my power, I did not own that I have a purpose, or that my purpose matters, or that I'm somebody worthy of fulfilling it. And then what's the purpose? What does it look like? We are reshaping what purpose looks like. And it's very different conversation when we are in this midlife stage, very different. And then prosperity, we get to be prosperous. And for some, prosperity is attached to the person they're with, or the job they do, or some kind of a condition. And we get to reshape that. We get to be sovereign in our ownership of prosperity. So we can choose what we do. We can choose who we be with. We can choose how we show up. And our prosperity is not directed by us having to be in any way. We just allow ourselves to have it, create it, receive it. And especially as women at this age, own it and steward it in a responsible way. Can you imagine? Wise, connected, divine women who are owning their power and their beauty and I mean beauty inside and out, and their divine connection, moving forward on purpose, and money is not an issue. Can you imagine the things we could do?
We'd be unstoppable.
Yeah. Unstoppable. And I think that's what the world needs, you know, the women, I mean, and I'm including men in the conversation, but I mostly speak to women. So, and men are definitely part of this conversation. Absolutely. Yeah.
They have their own journey.
Yes.
Through. Thank you so much for being here with us, Anna. So definitely take her up on her free gift. And yeah, as always, it's such a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you for inviting me to this conversation. I'm overjoyed to have it. Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll see you on the next, I'm just going to say episode because it sounds more fun. The next episode of Midlife Spiritual Uprising. All right. See you next time.